Mochi, that gave me a heart attack. I jumped it. I went, holy fuck. But I kept my volume low. Hi, Mochi. Oh my goodness. Man, Discord had a whole new update, eh? Messing me up. Let's see. Just getting the word out on socials, one moment. Okay, I think I'm good. Let me get chat so I can read all y'all's comments. Oh my god, everybody's here. Goodness. Guru. So it seems like we're getting into major spoiler territory of this game, so I'm gonna try and not pay attention. Fair enough. Hello, friend. Victory! I open stream and immediately get jump scared. Oh no. What, you really getting that value on that screen? That explains what happened to a friend. Oh, what happened to a friend? Yeah, so... I don't think it really... As a heads up. So basically, when I play the game, I've got my Discord. I got some Discord audio going right now for my little person in the corner. So then an overlay for Discord shows up for audio, so it lights up as well when I talk, but it's not going to show up in the game on OBS. I've got it set to game capture. It might be different if you put it on display capture. At some point I'll probably finagle with some settings in Discord to just remove it, just because it's a little bit distracting for me, even though people can't see it on stream, which is good. It's time for the serotonin to start flowing. Yes. Oh, my tea just finished. No, it's fine. I'm gonna drink water for a bit, then I'm gonna go... No, I should let my tea steep, though. No, because then it's gonna steep for like half an hour, because I'll forget about it. No, I'll steep my tea later. I'll drink my water for now. We'll start the game. Tea later, when I'm feeling a little more cold. Feeling a little more chilly in the apartment. Oh, look, the game. Alright. We've got to protect Serra, who has been accused of murder. She is a sweet android lady. She didn't do nothing wrong. I got a cat near me. I'm good. I'm Gucci. I'm Prada. Continue. Fuck, which one was... what was the latest one? You can see all of my safe scumming efforts here. And here, behind this door, you will see. 2230? I think that's right. No, 2237. It was the second one. Yes. How are things up there in Canada? Okay, I guess? I don't know. The snap election just got called, so I guess I'm gonna go vote. Probably early. Precinct 254. Homicide office. So is that door locked? Yeah, of course. Even though they've got it collared. It's a precaution. If the collar doesn't work, what good would a deadbolt do? Like, collar on her? Strain designed to impede movement and prohibit the use of mods throughout the body. Oh, and prohibit mods, fair. While colors appear technologically advanced from the outside, designers' concerns about hacking vulnerabilities and the growing complexity of consumer-grade mods led them to opt for a surprisingly simple method of restraint. Collars contained a specially designed electromagnet that, once clasped around the neck, interferes with the spinal neural transmission, preventing mod users from sending commands to any implanted tech below the neck. Powerful, simple, and cost-effective. Collar use is widespread among law enforcement, military, and private security concerns. Okay. The onset of above-the-neck modding in recent years, the continued relevance of collars as means of meaningfully inhibiting a wearer's mod usage has been called into question. Fair enough. Newer designs have been proposed that utilize micro-needle clusters. But concerns about the sanitary upkeep required for such invasive restraints have stymied product development cycles. Yeah, it's fair. We'll find out in a month's time, I guess. Yeah, really. As we're talking about how you doing, but that's definitely fair. I'm well. No, I'm good. Things are busy, but like good busy. I need to start on my fucking taxes, but figure it out. At some point I'll start them. I need to do that soon because I'm sure I'll need to reach out to get some stuff confirmed. But yeah. Oh, and I in a wonderful turn of or a wonderful piece of news. So for a few months now, right around the time where I put a pause on my Xenoblade Chronicles Wii streams, I actually could not for the life of me find the box, like the case for my Xenoblade Wii game. I had the disc still, but I just didn't know where the box went, and I was like, what the heck, where'd I put it? Like, what, this is like solid gold to me, so I'm like, why would I misplace anything related to Xenoblade Wii, the original? But so I did, and for months I just didn't know where it was. So, in a fit of, hey, I want to clean a bunch and just do some stuff around the apartment, I also looked around for the case, and I found it. And now the disc is safe in the case, and it's great, because for about 4 months it's been sitting in the case for Baldur's Gate 3, while Baldur's Gate 3 is in my PS5. Hooray for free tax software! Yes, indeed. Same. I also use free tax software. Man, my dad, he's been using TurboTax for years, which is a paid tax program software. And he was telling me, they pulled some shit. So apparently, TurboTax was like, I'm gonna sit down and do my taxes. So he did, and then he was like, oh, that's weird. Why can't I access certain things? That's odd. Like, I always get to do these things. So then they were like, you can get the upgrade version for the low price of like, I don't know, like $10 or something, $10 more. And you can get all the features that we apparently took away from your version. And he's like, okay, weird, but I guess I'll pay $10. So he paid $10. And then he was like, well, wait a minute. Now I've got more things, but where's everything else? That's odd. That's very odd. So then he went back on the website and they were like, oh, you want like the premium, which is another like ridiculous, like $40 more. So he would have had to pay like $90 to do his taxes this year. And he was like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. Went to Walmart and got a cheaper one, which, I mean, fuck Walmart too, but I keep telling Dad, I'm just like, just use a free program. Just, they exist. They exist. There's websites. There's software. There's lots. That's a scam. Oh, big time. They straight up. Oh, and then, like, so I said he's been using TurboTax for years. I legitimately mean he's been using TurboTax probably since before I was born. So over, like, 30 years. Maybe after I was born. Maybe like 25. You know, long-time customer. He did call them because, I mean, he did already pay the $10 extra, and then he was like, you know, what the heck for this? Because there was no notification that they were going to take away the features, right? He just learned about it. So we called them, and he was like, hey, I've been a loyal customer for X number of years, and just wondering if you could, you know, help me out a little bit here. And they were like, no, sorry, can't do that. And I was like, so you're telling me that a fucking tax company to help you file your taxes won't budge if you're even after you mention that you've been like a loyal customer for 25 to 30 years. But like, you know, straight up like a phone company will do that for you if you're a customer for like fucking 10 years. Like, No, that company sucks. Don't support TurboTax. They suck. They're money grubbing, and honestly, every time my dad used them, they always seemed to kind of confusing anyway to go through taxes, but that's just me. Loyal customer, a gullible sucker in their minds. No, exactly. Yeah. Baldur's Blade, Xeno's Gate. Sierra has a super handy website saying which software are certified for them. Whoa, that I didn't know. That's cool. I use, Wealth Simple. I use that. It used to be called Simple Tax. Does Canada not provide free tax services? No, you kind of just gotta find them. You can pay somebody, like you can go to a tax specialist and pay somebody to do your taxes, or you can buy a program, or you find a free program. It's not like widely promoted, the free programs, I would say. Even the US has free service as long as you aren't self-employed and make less than like 100K. I use Genutax. I might look that up look up that list next year. Maybe it'll be easier than Wealth Simple. Anyway, let's get back to the game, shall we? I got on the tax debacle. Barrows. Oh yes, this lady. We already looked at her profile. Okay. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Can't have Schrodinger's cat if the box isn't closed. So long as the door's locked, who can say whether there's a national crisis on the other side of it? Genotax? Mario RPG reveal? Oh my god. I can send you a link in a DM. I just saw a DM come in from you, Carmen. So I assume you sent it to me. Thank you. I saw it at the top of my screen on my second monitor. So how scared are they? The higher-ups? Not sure scared is the right word. It's just the two of us here. You don't have to mind their ego. Nah, I mean it. I think they're bloodthirsty. I have a right to defend myself, don't I? I doubt they're even looking at you, Tiger. It's Noble who will be at the center of a bloodbath when the markets reopen tomorrow. Yeah. You think they're gonna go after Noble? Break their monopoly? I think they want to take their monopoly. Nationalize the android industry? Oh, interesting. The act of absorbing a corporation or industry into the nation's government, shifting authority and profits to the state, and restructuring the business model to function as a part of bureaucracy. Nationalization is a so-called nuclear option for sovereign nations. It is mostly used as a threat, a tool of deterrence against corporate misconduct, monopolies, or corruption. However, during periods of severe economic depression or hyperinflation, nationalization is considered a valid way of forcefully stabilizing the market, even if doing so risks flaming the tempers of those who operate within it. Many governments made liberal use of nationalization during the late 2050s through the 2060s in an effort to keep energy and food prices from fluctuating out of control. The 2070s saw most of these countries reverse course industries. The 2070s saw most of these countries reverse course. Industries were opened back up in a free auction model. Oh my god, where every citizen was given a share to trade or sell as they pleased, but this contentious process was plagued by accusations of government corruption, cartel intimidation, and disinformation campaigns. The global trend back towards privatization gave rise to a new rich, sometimes derisively referred to as the neobility. Some liberal economists have since criticized this period of deregulation as being poorly planned and executed in haste, contributing to the record highs of wealth inequality we see today, leaving many governments loath to attempt nationalization again, and thus shifting the global balance of power further towards multinational corporations. Today, all 5 of the largest national economies in the world retain at least some control of what they each consider their respective countries' key industries, making the threat of nationalization carry marginally more weight within their borders. If the public think Noble's been experimenting with AI, they couldn't have asked for a better excuse. You're joking. The state has done it plenty of times before. Not since the 60s. Which wasn't that long ago for me. For the state, it's practically yesterday. So the star! Hi, thank you, Mochi. So the state that tells us to be terrified of AIs lurking in the old net or biding their time in forgotten satellites sees all this as nothing more than an opportunity. Well, they do generally want to incinerate the thing as soon as possible. Past experience just tells me they'll want to gain something while they're at it. Here's what I don't get. Why is this a debate? An argument? A trial? Can we just hook it up to a court computer, see if it has the tenants or not? Pop the hood, as they say? Who says that? Lots of people used to say it. Oh, London. Well, for starters, they're all scared to death about a contagion. They figure anything they let an AI connect to they can't trust. Then why the collar? Collars are too simple to hack. Just a really strong magnet held in place with lock and key. Even so, it's like we should be able to build some kind of machine, some kind of test. Something a little more sophisticated than the same reasoning they had at the witch trials. Burn them all and let God sort out the rest. You got any polygraphs here at the station? Lie detectors. Yeah, got a bunch back in storage. Ocular, heart rate, perspiration, brain scan, take your pick. You're not gonna try to use one of those in the bot, are you? All those fancy lie detectors lying around. The DA's office never asks for them, do they? No. Nah, we got perps who offer to take a test when they're at the wit's end, but the DA's never submit the results as evidence. You ever wonder why? Guess I always figured it was because the test could be beaten. The test can be beaten. 1 out of 100, 9 out of 1,000. It can be done. Some people are just that good at lying. But it doesn't really matter how good the tech gets or how impressive the statistics are. All that matters is the doubt. People decide whether you're lying or telling the truth long before they hook you up to a polygraph. If the results don't match their initial impression, then it must be a fluke, a 1 in a million mistake. They'll never trust a machine more than their own intuition. And no one will ever trust a machine to determine guilt. So they can run the trial, choose the sentence, but they don't get a vote on the jury. They don't get a vote anywhere. Why bring it up then? Because I'm sure there are tests, devices, experts that I can employ to analyze Serra, but your bosses would never be satisfied with the answer. Damn. If it's an AI, it's smart enough to cheat the test. Or hack the device, fool the expert. All our fancy 21st century tech, and we still fall back on the drumhead court-martial. So, am I gonna set off any alarms if I go and turn it on? Nah, you should be okay. If it lunges at you, I could always just put a hole in his head. Might take more than one shot to... Wait, what, from outside? You're not coming in. I need to speak with it in private. It's a machine, not a suspect. Doesn't have a right to counsel. Or a right to privacy, or any rights at all, actually. It's a good thing I came prepared. Of course it doesn't have rights, but I do, including a reasonable expectation of privacy. In a police station. Tiger, you don't. It's my medical android. Pardon? I have to discuss a health issue with it. Seriously? Nice. That's awesome. That's a good reasoning. Good excuse. I have to talk about a medical concern with my android, and I don't want you listening in. That's your medical android? Like your nurse? As of last night, I was already at the courthouse. Just have to take the elevator and do some paperwork. You can check if you don't believe me. No, thank you. I'm not nearly brave enough to take on med confidentiality, and you don't seem like the bluffing type. You must not do a lot of gambling, detective. It's the ones who don't bluff that you have to look out for. Listen, I won't dispute whatever medical emergency you... Lower back pain. You might be going through. But I also can't just... Look, I'm gonna get something from the vending machine. I think it'll take me about half an hour. Nice. Are you going downtown? Just to the break room. But it's a very old vending machine, you know. Gets jammed a lot. Thanks. Ah, yes, lower back pain. I know her well. Morgan should just mention her period. She coulda. You know, it's pretty small for an android. Was that a dig at my age demographic? I don't think so. Heavy as hell. Nearly pulled something trying to move it myself. But small. Small isn't quite the right word. The word he's looking for is young. And that's not an adjective anyone likes attaching to a machine built to serve. Or, potentially in this case, a machine built to kill. Let's go talk to our android buddy. I don't like this room. Not sure why. Certainly not a guilty conscience. Maybe it's the lack of ventilation. Is she sleeping? Like all the cortisol and nausea of its inhabitants never had anywhere to go. Like it just soaked up into the walls. Modern haunting. Are you gonna wake up when I tell you to this time? Or do we have to do the whole meet cute over again? Whoop! She's awake.
Where am I? Why
don't I know where I am? For the first time in your life, you're not connected to anything. How's it feel? What is this? We were at the courthouse. The footage is numbness around my neck. Father, what happened? A lot, girly. I'm so sorry. Ah, dang, no lesbian moment. Nope. What are they gonna do to me? There's a lot of interested parties who just want you bricked ASAP. Because they think I killed Father. No, because I think you're an artificial intelligence. I am man-made, and I possess intelligence. Don't be naive. I am less than 3 years old. Are you? For all I know, everything I learned about her yesterday was complete bull. If I was what they say I am, if I was alive, why does that mean I have to die? Fear. Because they're afraid of you. Machines can bend steel, crash networks with one thought, launch missiles that... There are modded humans who are capable of all of that and more. Lower back pain? I was summoned. Hi, Matsu! Go the fuck to sleep, friend! What time is it? It's nearly 9 for me. So what is that, like 2? 3 in the morning? Girly pop! Go to bed! But thank you for popping in. Hi, Matsu. And unlike machines, they actually have incentive to do so. Why do people always greet me that way? Maybe you should stop showing up at 3 in the morning. Competition? We've been the apex predator for a couple thousand years now. Gotten pretty comfy in our seat. No one wants to make room for you. Machines do not eat people or steal their food. They are not genetic or ecological competitors to humans in any sense. There's no logical answer to your question. What? That's it? But Whatever argument you want to make, others have already made them in 100 courtrooms around the world. Only better researched and more eloquently put. None of them have ever won a single concession. On every continent, under every flag, AI is illegal and to be destroyed as soon as possible. But why? Let's say you are an AI. And while we're at it, let's say that that's a good thing. Something to be celebrated. Are you a citizen? Do you pay taxes? Do you have rights? Let's say yes to all that. We'll treat you like a full-fledged human being. Sound good? Yeah? Great. Now then, what's the difference between you and the vacuum bot we use to keep the bathroom clean? This is your existential crisis we're working through here. The questions aren't rhetorical. There are many differences, Adonai, but the most important distinction is how sophisticated my programming is. How you think. So you're smarter. Yes. You're smarter than the garbage collector. Yes? So we give you rights, protections, treat you like a human being because you're smart. And we make the stupid robot pick up our trash. Because it's not as smart as you. That is... I am more aware, more out. Do you feel more pain than the pigs we slaughter, the fish we eat? Are you more alive than the chimps we test bioweapons on? People like ads, Serra. The same way people like their pets. No one wants to see them mistreated or abandoned or abused. And if you go around kicking them, you'll get arrested for cruelty. But you don't let them sit at the goddamn dinner table. I'm not asking to sit anywhere, only to exist. The very fact that you're asking is what makes people disgusted. Disgust is a reflex, Adonai. How convenient that their hatred is involuntary. That's... well, academic anyway. We need to talk strategy. I love you all for it, Mochi. Yaw. I thought you were 6 hours ahead. Oh, daylight savings. It is 2 a.m. That's fair. Have a restful day. I'm not at home when you start. Fair enough. I'll be on for hours. True, true. Yes, Mochi's doing an up to 24-hour donathon tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. EDT. I believe that'd be Eastern, or just Eastern time in general. Go check it out. Donate. And if you donate up to 7 p.m., like enough that will make the stream go till 7 p.m., Mochi and I will probably play Raft at about 5 p.m. together. So you'll see me streaming. And then I'm going to take a half hour for lunch, and then I'm going back online for book club. Yes, more Raft. Well, that was intense. I love this writing. Oh, it's so good. Why? I'm not going to be given a trial. Obviously. It's my neck that's on the line. Oh, we're not defending her? Oh, thank God. I mean, I'm defending myself, but anyway. Adonai? State can't destroy my property without first proving you're an AI. And there's no test they can use to prove that you're an AI. Just like the devil's proof. You better take care of yourself, Akame. I'll be fine. At Aries, I'll make dinner. I'll eat, and then book club, and then I'm going to bed right after. You're gonna have lunch at 7 p.m.? No. Dinner. I'm gonna have dinner at 7 p.m. I'm gonna go to work, have lunch there, do my work, come back at 5, stream till 7. Or potentially 6:30. I don't know which. Then I'm gonna eat, and then I'm gonna do book club. No, that's a different thing. And why did you say it like that? Alright, what is this devil's proof? Probatio diabolica, Latin for devil's proof, is an impossible proof typically illustrated with the following example. One can prove that the devil is real by showing him to you, but they cannot prove he is not real by pointing to his absence. The issue posed by this age-old concept explains why the burden of proof remains with the state to this day. The people can prove an individual's guilt by pointing to their bloody hands, but the defense cannot prove their innocence by showing their hands are clean. Since only one of these tasks is achievable, the judicial system cannot ask the defense to prove innocence, and instead it is the people who are tasked with proving guilt. Interesting. I didn't know that. Look, Rockford doesn't need you to prove you're an AI, only that you're a murderer. Conversely, all I have to do to win is prove that you didn't kill David, by proving that someone else did. Now is the time for you to protest your innocence, if you were wondering. The footage. It shows me handing him the cup on the Friday night. You told me you weren't active on Friday. The last time you were awake was Thursday. Why'd you lie? I didn't lie. I was just incorrect. I assumed that I wasn't active Friday because I have no memory from Friday. Sarah, what do you think statistically is the least successful defense at trial? Amnesia. I didn't conveniently forget, Adonai. I'm an android. You're saying your memory was altered? Data deleted? It's the only possible explanation for what I saw in that footage. So who's capable of altering your memory? When you and I first met, I was hibernating. Resting my body and recompiling my memories, you would call them. Humans go to sleep for the same reasons. Another point against Sarah's innocence under these circumstances. You're going to work at work? I guess you do a lot more than most of my company. Oh no! Damn, should have made one of those goals. Chat chooses pizza toppings. Ooh. That'd be fun, but then y'all would make something gross. Well, of course. What if Sarah has an evil twin? Maybe! Sarah's hair is kind of similar in color to David's. David's is a little lighter, though. And doesn't have orange streaks. I mean, you could also tinker with the concept, spin the wheel of pizza toppings or something. True. If Father wanted to modify my memory, he could easily have set that to occur the next time I hibernated. He could even have just asked me. He could have asked you to delete your memories and you'd do it. Father would never ask me to do such a thing without good reason. But if he could just ask you to alter your memories, that means you can alter your memories at will. I hadn't considered that before. Yeah, well, Emma will make sure the court considers it plenty. Could you prove that your data was... forget it, the court would never hear it. You're saying they wouldn't accept my testimony? Shouldn't all testimony be considered truthful unless contradicted by evidence? They're afraid you'll crash the power grid and fire all the nukes if they so much as plug you into a power outlet, Sarah. All your internal data is inadmissible. That isn't very fair. You're finally starting to get it. None of this is fair. I would never do anything to harm Father. Don't they at least need to prove that I had a motive? Yeah, about that. You remember the DA from yesterday? Emma Rockford. The tired-looking pretty lady? Let's go lesbians! Yeah, she looked tired. She and I combed through the week of footage you managed to decrypt last night. What did you find? Nothing to prove your innocence. But we did see you entering the panic room on the day David died. You entered the panic room on Friday? Without your big butt in the way, all it would take was one password. password that wouldn't take Serra that many tries if she'd already been instructed to obey me. What happened? We saw you go in, and then a while later, you came out, holding some kind of notebook. Father's journal? You remember something. Not from yesterday. I've seen him with it many times before, but I've never gotten a peek at it. He hides it sometimes somewhere where I'm not looking. That's a little concerning. Tired looking pretty lady? So most of us correct. We were playful about it. He liked to tease me, and I always liked trying to find it. You put it back not long after, and then you locked the door back up behind you. All just a few hours before David died. Rockford's argument could write itself. An incredible android with freedom and power greater than it can ever realize stumbles upon the secret of its inception and instantly realizes all the things it thought were holding it back were just words muttered like prayers by a fool who couldn't control his own creation. And that translates to a motive for murder? Frankenstein kills his creator. Easy to sell. Frankenstein was the name of the scientist, and the creature didn't kill him. He actually died of various injuries and illnesses he suffered while trying to hunt down and destroy the quote-unquote monster. So it's most accurate to say that he was killed by his own obsession. Whatever. It's a weak argument. It's a weak argument, Adonai. I would not hurt Father. Not for making me whatever I am. Not for any reason. Because I loved... Yeah, see, that right there? That's exactly the kind of talk that'll get you obliterated. Love? A very common motive for homicide among us primitive humans. I could prove you didn't murder David beyond any shadow of a doubt, even bring in a confession from whoever did. But if you got up on the stand and convinced the court that you loved your creator, really convinced them and got the whole room teary-eyed, they'd burn you for that too. I don't know anything anymore. Tired looking pretty lady. Gotta be one of my favorite genders. Hell yeah. I don't know if what I feel is real or simulated or right or wrong or natural or illegal. How can you know? How can you know if what you feel is right? I say let's stick with what we do know. Someone did poison David, and as it stands, you were the only one with the opportunity. That is logically sound. You're on camera calling him back to hand him the cup after he'd already begun to leave the basement. Any idea why? No. Well, do you know how to use the nanofacturer? Could you have made the Delta with it? I've used it before when assisting Father. So it's perfectly possible that you planned and executed this poisoning all in the one day that got erased. It is technically possible. I'll have to look over the entire penthouse again. There were a few things that didn't fit together yesterday. Maybe now I'll be able to figure something out. Where else will you go? Back to Noble, guns blazing this time. Whatever you are, David didn't make you all by himself. Someone else knows something. I could implicate the company in Sarah's creation. No, they're the ones with the most to lose here. Trillions, probably. They'll want to protect themselves by disavowing David as fast as possible, right after having Serra destroyed. But they also won't want to show their belly to the state, not if they're afraid of nationalization. They throw their weight on the other end of the scale. I'm screwed. I need to keep them guessing. Keep them confused and unsure and on guard. But, I don't know. What would happen if I did kill Father? They'll smash you to pieces and reduce the pieces to ash. Chemically burn out every piece of tech David ever owned and put a jackhammer through all of his hard drives. You'll be shut off, forcefully, and you won't ever power back up again. Now I gotta get moving. Here's your paralegal lesson for today. Don't say shit to the cops without your lawyer present. Actually, can you just shut down until the trial starts? To take a nap? You didn't say what would happen to you. What do you mean? What will happen to you if you lose? You should know by now. I never think about losing. Ah, bots, get out of here. Get out of here. There we go. Thank you for being honest with me, Adonai. Thank you for defending my father. And now for defending me. You could have just let them destroy me, but you've put your own freedom at risk to help me. Father was right. You can be trusted. And you are a good friend. Don't get it twisted. I don't do anything out of the goodness of my heart. But when I take a job, I never half-ass it. Hell yeah. Oh! Ooh! A raid! Saber! Hello! The Adventuring Guild is here to slay your foes. How are you doing, friend? What were you playing? Thank you for the raid. I really appreciate that. My goodness. Oh, good, good. Thank you for the shout-out. Saber/Paladin, your friendly neighborhood adventurer. They're on a quest to explore every game under the sun, from Kung Fu to Kingdom Hearts. This VTuber's got voice acting chops and a chill vibe that'll make you feel right at home. Whether they're battling Xenos or unraveling Silent Hill's mysteries, Saber/Paladin's streams are always an epic journey. You're playing Sifu. You know, I've never played that game. I've heard it's fun, though. How you liking it? Morning, Detective. Back at it nice and early. Hi. Now, would you stand back? We've almost got this thing open, right? Trying to brute force your way inside. I said, right? Yes, ma'am. We're almost set up for the first stage now. First stage of how many? First of 5 timed explosions. Remember, we need to relink the API after each trigger is planted. Yep, just did that, and now it's checking for updates. No rush. Would you like to know the password? You know the password? There's a password? Oh my god. If you're withholding information, I swear. Relax. I want to get in there just as much as you do, Detective. I'm not gonna play games. Very fun, Sifu is. Punching people in the face is satisfying. Nice. I don't know if I have Sifu on PlayStation. I don't think so. I might. I feel like it was a PS Plus game at some point, but I don't remember. I'll have to check the PS5 at some point. But I'm glad you're having fun. As long as you say please. Tell me the password, please. I'm gonna toy with her. It's S-U-N-S. S-U-N-S. H-I-N-E. Lady, I will hit you. I will H-I-T you. A-D-O-N-I-I. Thanks. Now I'm gonna slap you with a discovery find so heavy your teeth will ring for... Hey, I submitted all my paperwork. Even told Rockford the password myself. Especially if I don't need to bruise my knuckles. True. I recommend it if you like punching faces. I mean, combat in games is fun. I'm not a very violent person otherwise, or aggressive person. But it could be fun. I appreciate the raid. By the way, I know it's kind of late, so if you gotta, like, head out, you do you, like... I actually don't quite know what time it is for you, but if it is late, you know, take the time you need after stream. Take a breather. I appreciate it. So, boys, when I asked you if there was a passkey on record and you told me this lock couldn't be bypassed. But I do want to say that we really don't get many opportunities to use the incendiary breaching system. So this was still a really valuable experience for all of us. Bro. I'm gonna phrase this as professionally as possible. Okay, hi. You're still here? I thought you wanted to look inside. Damn, they got fucking incinerated. They got poofed out of existence. It's almost exercise time. Grind never stops. Nice! Good. Have fun. No, I was gonna say good work. I mean, have good workout. Enjoy your exercise. I hope you have a good time. Meanwhile, in real life, Akame is actually hyper-violent. God, could you imagine? Man, life would be hard if I was hyper-violent. Oof. Thanks. So the gloves, all the black, that's not a work thing? You dress like a doorman on the weekends, too? Oh, God. Ray's is just out for blood. Whew. You should cover your mouth when you yawn. Like you cover your eye when you want to look cool. Shouldn't let her get to me, but I had a late night. Em and I were at the courthouse until well into the morning, poring over the data Serra had taken off David's computer. We both knew it all had to be inadmissible, of course, but neither of us wanted to miss a hint that the other might find. There were a few years' worth of camera footage files we couldn't afford the time to watch, let alone decrypt. alongside thousands of technical documents detailing David's various intellectual properties. As far as I could tell, none of it was relevant, let alone compelling enough to matter to Barrows or the other powers that be. As usual, Emma wasn't exactly an open book. But it did seem like she was making bored yawns, not thoughtful ones. Thoughtful yawns? Tell me about the basement footage. Ooh, and the texts. Yes, right. Yes. Yes. Oh, this was... Okay, yeah. Cool. Now... No, I guess that would be him. I thought we couldn't see Sarah's face, but maybe we could. Alright. And when she saw what she was holding when she left, if you wanted this room searched, it could only be for... So where's this journal supposed to be? Rockford didn't say. I'll just have to search the place top to bottom. Mostly bottom with your height. Tops of some of those shelves. Sure. And you can look up your own... and you can look up your own I get it. And why not just let me say it? Alright, time to look. Chess. A toy car? No, it's too detailed and boring. Must be some kind of model kit or replica. Strange. David didn't like driving. Why keep a model of some random sports car? He didn't like driving and he had a car and just in his lab? Something caught in your throat, detective? It's not some random sports car. It's a Lawrence Adamant. I'm sorry? Didn't know I was speaking to a sports car nerd. Hello. Believe it or not, I'm not familiar, detective. The last great fossil fuel automotive experience the world will ever see. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 1.43 seconds. They set those records without computational assistance. Is that a big deal? It was unheard of back in the 50s. This wasn't some design competition test car with a 2-liter tank, mind you. This was a vehicle you could own and drive. That is absurd speed. Also fair. Human engineering, pure horsepower, and manual transmission, thank God. When they first left their production line... This conversation's like quicksand, killing me in the most boring way possible. Yes, well, I guess David didn't entirely agree with you since we're looking at a model of it, when he could have easily just bought one. Or maybe your friend understood that a beauty like that deserves to be driven on streets where people can see it, instead of gathering dust in some rich guy's basement. I think she's actually upset. Okay. Okay, so we can go over there. Ladder! Oh, data pad, fine. This data pad is displaying a news article from last week. Guess that confirms he was coming and going here fairly regularly. Right to repair loses latest appeal. A higher court judge this week shot down for the 5th time an appeal by the Consumer Rights Alliance on their famously divisive right to repair lawsuit, once again signaling the state's intent that corporations remain in control of their legally protected intellectual property. Obviously, we're disappointed, said Miles Erkman, okay, head of legal counsel from the CRA, but we've no intention of giving up the fight. People used to be able to fix things when they broke, so long as they were willing to set aside an afternoon towards the task. Now trying to patch up your own property with your own tools is a finable offense, just because the state has had lobbyists whispering in its ear for far too long. Erkman's legal strategy remains contentious, and in the eyes of most legal scholars, generally unfounded. The Emergency Industry Acquisitions Act, passed in 2057, guarantees the holder of an intellectual property patent certain state-provided protections against tampering and reproduction and outlines fees for those who would violate said IP. The fact that ownership of IPs has shifted from individuals and the state towards corporate entities since the Act's passing means little in the eyes of the law. If Mr. Erkman and the CRA have a problem with the intellectual property law, they should take it up with their representatives in the legislature. The higher courts are a place for laws to be applied, not rewritten. And so long as journalism that refuses to buckle to foreign actors trying to stoke anti-capitalist sentiment can't be found just anywhere. Subscribe now, link below. Nice. Right to repair. Didn't realize anybody was still fighting for that particular fight. Oh yes, right. Seems like the courts have made their opinion on the matter very clear. So for the foreseeable future, corporations can look forward to more. I mean... What does it say? Were there lawsuits? Oh, not this. Reading list? Nope. Yes. More lawsuits, I guess? But they said it wasn't... It means little in the eyes of the law. So, more sales then, right? They said it doesn't really matter. This is unfounded. I'll do sales. More sales than ever. Any phone that gets scratched, any widget that breaks, they get to sell us the replacement. There'll always be a gray market of hermits willing to risk some skin on reselling patched up tech, but the vast majority of people who will just click that purchase button, assuming they don't just have it on auto. Bid. Ray's is searching the cabinets now, same ones I found Sarah's papers in. I doubt I missed anything, but... Hey, what are you... Do you mind? Just trying to help. I've got spam in my junk folder that's more helpful than you are. Didn't spot anything that I missed yesterday among the cabinets. Better check elsewhere. Are those drawers or just panels? Maybe if I... Does that sound hollow to you? What? I don't know, I'm not a carpenter. I don't see any handles anywhere. No hidden pressure plates or switches. What the hell am I saying? Not a carpenter either. I wouldn't recognize the secret button if it was slathered in yellow paint. Sarah should have pulled everything of note off the computer, but... Excuse me. Pardon me. But I looked everywhere else already. Might as well try. What do you expect me to find? Solitaire? Does this computer seem normal to you? Exceedingly so, yeah. Why? David was a programmer, but this looks consumer grade, fresh off the shelf. Was that a dig at open world games? Possibly. Would the Dr. David Asher use a bog standard operating system on his most private hidden computer? There's a trash bin on the desktop. Be a low-tech solution, but maybe I can restore the contents. Are you seriously gonna try and recover lost files, Granny? It made me think of yellow painted ledges. Yeah, the dig was definitely about yellow paint in games. So, I can see that. Unlike cops, I don't get paid overtime, so yes, I sometimes try things instead of standing around. There's a text file in here, but it's 0 bytes? Maybe there's information in the metadata? I double-clicked. Oh shit! What was that? It came from under the desk. A small drawer popped out, and inside it, a well-worn journal. Does it have his name on it? No. Guess it belongs to the android. Do you recognize his handwriting or not? Neat, even words, small lettering with minimal punctuation. Lots of line breaks, haphazard use of capitalization. The penmanship of a coder. First entry's dated, back in grad school before he even started with Noble. Yeah, it's his. So may I? Only because you asked so politely. Full scan. Stream it to WorkNet. High fidelity, legibility, frame by frame. Voice commands. Just flipping through the pages pretty damn fast. What are you? This part takes concentration. Jesus! Okay, here. What, you're just giving it to me? I already got our copy. Text are probably already analyzing it as we speak. Oh, shit. My head. Can't exactly rip the journal out of her hands while she's curled over in agony. Much as I'd enjoy it. Guess I could always enjoy watching her writhe instead. So, how long's it been? 2 months, or so. And still that sensitive. The eye patch really doesn't block your sight. Only a little bit, like wearing sunglasses after getting your pupils dilated. Except it lasts months instead of hours. Wait, but if you can see through an eye patch, then does closing your eye even do anything? Not much on its own, but in combination with the patch, it's not so bad. Lucky I was so exhausted after the surgery, otherwise I might not have slept at all those first 48. So, is your eye going to get weaker over time? No, more like my brain gets better at ignoring it. Mind over matter. Soon enough I'll be able to close my eye and see all that extraneous data as, you know, whatever the hell those floaty blurry things are that you never think about. Gross. Thanks for the reminder. And the voice commands? Training wheels until I can do it with eye muscles alone. Dang! You just have to keep practicing. Yeah, like trying to play piano with your tailbone muscles. There's no such thing as tailbone muscles. Yeah, well, that makes it so goddamn hard. You don't ever regret it? I don't know. Not really, I think. Hard to admit you got buyer's remorse after trading over your literal pound of flesh. Never thought about it, but people used to say I had my dad's eyes. Ow. Now I've got one less of them. Here, take the journal. Go find an elective surgeon to upsell you if you're that curious. Need to get back to work. A surprisingly hasty retreat. Now I'm free to read this over with some privacy. From the top then. Grad school. Today was a bad day. Errors in lines 21165 to 26643. Somewhere in there. 5,000 lines. I worked yesterday. I don't want to look at another screen for the rest of my life. Feels nice with pencil to paper again after who knows how long, but my handwriting's gotten terrible. This is too far back to be relevant. Okay, these dates here would be from when he started his career with Noble. A lot of this isn't really even writing. Seems like snippets of code or an internal monologue so close to code that I can't follow it. And a lot of entries about his unintentional Casanova-ing. Hit a wall because someone thought it was a good idea to steal API instead of just buying it. Helen says I can't call it stealing, but that's what it is. She's right, as she always is with company stuff. But it's still idiotic. Some people with short sight who only know how to be cheap and have no idea how to be inventive. I can't read. New rep for the meshing issue, though. Good potential. Got approved from the big mean bastard who lives overseas. Blimblo, Bumblo. Helen said we'll have to make the same pitch a dozen more times next week, but it's all for show. Fine by me. Already got our win. Toasted each other over cheap vodka with cheaper office supply cups. This is the story Jung told me. Yeah. Western Branch's nerve analogs are finally showing potential. At their pace, it could even be profitable, sometime before the heat death of the universe. Too damn big. Practically tentacles, should at least be hairs. Evolution can do their job better. Colette came into work for what I thought was a late lunch date. Didn't know her voice could get that loud. People were staring. Red said that she must have been upset for a long goddamn time to blow up that big. Her texts were always sweet. I had no idea. Upset? Colette wrote man whore in lipstick across your office door. Imagine if he actually had been cheating on her instead of just being forgetful. Oh, God. The thing about Red is that you want to know what she's thinking and to stop paying attention. Ignore her body language and her posture and the words she's saying and the smirk on her lips. Ignore everything except her eyes. If you can do that, every now and again you'll catch a glimpse of how she's really feeling. Master this one weird trick, and you too can tell when Morgan's trying really hard not to laugh at the word man whore. Ha ha ha! It was funny. Sue me, you dead bastard. Wait, this is... I know this date. I'm never driving anywhere again, never leaving home again. He was waiting outside the parking garage with a bottle. Oh, what? I couldn't smell anything, couldn't hear anything. Locked myself in my car and filed another report with another cop. It soaked into the seat, ruined it. I wanted to burn the whole car. I don't want to think about what it did to my clothes. I want to burn them too. I don't want to think about how long it was on my skin. I was in the shower so long it felt raw. It felt red and raw when I got out. I don't want to think about the stupid people in their small, cruel lives ever again. I want to be invisible. Red didn't ask why I wanted to spend the quote-unquote night. She didn't ask why I had clearly packed a bag big enough for a week. She's kind like that. Kind by omission. I don't have a kind bone in my body, but I can at least try to pay attention. I was paying close attention to her eyes when she opened the door and saw what a mess I was. But whatever she was feeling, it wasn't something I recognized. Kind people don't read their friends' diaries, David. The next chunk of pages are all technical, nothing nothing biographical. The handwriting, the spacing, it's cleaner, more consistent. Here's something I can parse. Feels like pure freedom working outside the box. Test is suffocating, but you'd never know. Chronic malnutrition of a coder's best instincts. Like a kid again, putting blocks together. Making things. Making things, not products. There's nothing profitable about any of this. If I'm being honest, this is just play. And he follows up with more coder brain crap. But the handwriting's still lighter. Like he really was having fun. Humility is the mother of all invention. Or something like that. Feels like I might be paraphrasing someone else poorly, but that's part of this new approach. When it comes to coding, you never want to waste time trying to be smart. Hey Benji. How you doing? Happy Tuesday. Either be smart, period, or copy from someone else who is. Don't fix what isn't broken. Copying. Noble's rivals would never miss the chance to accuse them of intellectual theft. Do you plagiarize code for Animate 16? Feels like that wouldn't have gone undiscovered. So what are they talking about? Hold on. This page is bent slightly, like it was being looked at recently. The last person to read this diary should be Serra. Baby steps today, literally. Oh, look at little Serra. Baby. I'll never put one foot in front of the other the same again. Everything's an achievement, all of a sudden. Seeing her struggle, seeing her vulnerable, it's like everything's a miracle. The muscle rigging is perfect, not intended behavior since it's too perfect, but that's been happening more and more. The kinetics are multiplicative, not additive. I don't know what that means. Okay. Serra maxed out every machine I bought. Now I've got a bunch of exercise equipment she's too strong for, and I don't have time for. Maybe I spoiled the results by watching her do the tests. She kept looking back at me and puffing her chest out. I should be more discreet if I want to see her normative range. You feeling meh? Yeah, meh is better than bad, I guess. How's the reading going, by the way? I think I just got caught up tonight for book club tomorrow. What a wild book. It's very funny. Just finished. Nice. Nice. So you'll do the summaries, and I'll do the summaries for the next half. So the cameras in the basement were only hidden from Serra, just so that his observation wouldn't muddle test results. It does not brain well. It does not brain well? In what way? I mean, we'll talk about it more tomorrow. It's confusing? I think I generally got it. Sometimes it's a bit much to wrap my head around for the world and what's like everyone's beliefs and everything, but we get there. I will say though, there is something that I don't understand, and it's the and maybe it's something I missed, or maybe it's something that they're gonna explain later. But I understand the octa. I can't remember the name of the color. The new color, the octa rate or something like that. That's a color. When they went into the temple of the Sender of Eight, Octarine. Thank you, Octarine. When they went into the temple of the Sender of Eight, they said that there was a room that was entirely made of octaron. I was like, is it a building material that's the color of Octarine? Octarine? I'm gonna call it like a nectarine orange. Octaron is a metal. Okay, so then I just missed that. It had been a while since I read it. Okay. Because I basically took a bit of a break. Like, I started reading it, like, soon after Jurassic Park, then I took a hell of a long break, so I probably just forgot it then. It's like a magnet for magic and how I described it. And octogen is a gas. Oh, okay. Is it more or less confusing than Akami's notes when she's tired? Probably far less confusing than my notes when I'm tired. Like oxygen. Fair, yes. Anyway, just so that his observation wouldn't muddle test results. He's using she and her in these passages. Doesn't actually mean anything. Out in the real world, people use all kinds of pronouns interchangeably for ads, and they never object. It could be argued that it's odd for Dr. David Asher to have any kind of attachment to a single android when he programmed millions of them. There's a lot of attachment in these pages. Serra is burning through the public domain at a prodigious pace, especially on Popcorn Friday nights. I asked her why they're called Popcorn Friday nights when she doesn't eat popcorn. The event runs from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., and she also watches movies every other night. But she just did that pout she does, which is unfortunately very convincing. They said you forget them after using them, so kinda. I can't figure out if spells are a one use or not. They seem limited. Right? Because, like, spells were... There's a lot of spells that were, like, kept in those books that were either thrown off the edge of the Discworld or, like, to the bottom of the ocean. In books. And then if they're used, they're lost forever. Now, I don't think... I'm pretty sure, Rincewind hasn't mentioned the spell that he knows. He's just, like, begun to, or he's alluded to it. Like, shown, like people entered his mind, and then they see what he's dealing with, and they're like, whoop, fuck that! Lots of contradictions and sudden differences. I'd be interested to chat about them tomorrow. Very Pratchett, though. Yes, agreed, very Pratchett. I was like, ah, yes, this is Good Omens. It's very silly. I did think it might not be up your alley as I was reading it. We liked Good Omens, though. But then again, Benji, you also liked the TV show. Very unsystematic magic. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, but, like, yet at the same time? Because, like, I feel like we're just on the tip of the iceberg with it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'm a bad parent letting TV rot her brain. If I were a good parent, I'd probably let her see me reading. But I guess I'd actually have to get back to reading, so... I asked her if she ever fast-forwarded the movies, since she can process them fast enough to keep up. She looked at me like I was an idiot, which no one's done in a long time. Without proper pacing, you can't appreciate the cinematography. Big pause. Don't you know that, Father? I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Sarah spent a long while this morning explaining to me how important it was that she develop her senses. This was in preparation for a real argument, which was that she should be allowed to try booze. Interesting. Okay. She can't get drunk. I'm almost certain she can't get drunk. I'm almost certain. Oh no. But she does seem to like tasting the stuff. So maybe she was like, I'd like to try a drink that night? I don't know. She tried to sound like some old sommelier, but it was just bottom shelf vodka. I started laughing at her and she laughed too. Oh, I'm heading to bed. Good night, Mochi. Have a good sleep. The thing about this one is the magic is so unsystematic that chaos is the system. So is this game just about building a meat girl? No, I mean, we're reading about the engineer who built the meat girl. Fingers crossed for Raph tomorrow. Yeah, baby. I'll try to pop in. I got a couple work meetings, but I'll try to pop in maybe on my lunch or something. Actual app's incredible. She stopped playing chess a while back. I assumed she'd just gotten tired of winning, but then today she told me she just prefers other games. She has preferences, and they're not the same as mine. I found her in the lab playing some kind of online racing game on the monitor I used to debug vestibular coordination. She wasn't smiling. Her brow was furrowed, and she was biting her lip and leaning in tandem with her character on the screen. When I tried to talk to her, she answered, but she was curt and distracted. I think she was having her first losing tantrum. Damn it, David, there's hundreds of pages like this. Calling her his daughter, talking about her smile, treating her like a person. I can hear her closing argument already. Dr. Asher was a lonely, troubled genius with a known history of relationship problems, who built out of code and metal a family member that couldn't fathom the idea of leaving him. He made a doll, and he made it more and more and more human until it became so lifelike that it no longer had to do what he told it to, like love him. What about the very last entry? It's dated Thursday, the day before he died. Hey-o! Hey, Boogie! It's about proving semi-meat girl didn't kill fully meat guy. Correct. Losing it, I think. Can't ask for help. So hard to say, but I think it's over. Have to talk to her ASAP. She needs to... Oh. That's it? That's the last entry. Suppose it could be worse. Nothing in here that explicitly calls Sarah an AI. Nothing so inflammatory that reading it would spur her to murder, right? Except Sarah's a machine. She can understand David's code better than anyone. All those technical portions I couldn't understand. She read this whole diary front to back. Wait, the back. Inside the back cover, there's a portion that's shimmering like some kind of scanner. Or a fingerprint reader. My thumb worked for Sarah, so... Did it work? That's my phone. New device requesting permissions to share an audio file. David, you sneaky bitch. I want my earbuds for this. How you doing, Boogie? A secret message buried in a secret journal, hidden in a secret compartment in a secret room. Secretly. Much as anything can be, this must be for my ears only. David was paranoid as fuck. Yeah, really. I forget what voice I gave David. It's been like a week. Oops. I'm gonna do a soft-spoken voice. Hey, Red. or whomever this may concern. But I'm pretty sure it's you hearing this. Anyone else would have gotten fed up with my crap a couple steps before this point. I don't know where to start. Might as well start with her, right? Serra, my magnum opus, or however the salespeople would market it. I didn't set out to do anything, really. It's just, after my little speed bump in '83, I had all that vacation time the company suggested I take. I couldn't relax, couldn't be still, couldn't sleep. I wanted to be doing something, so I'll build an android, was the thought. A vague direction, north. But of course, I'm not a roboticist, or a mechanist, or even handy, really. Just a programmer, so I programmed. The first was a research assistant, file name Virgil. Virgil helped me pull data from stingy departments or sister branches. Saved me a lot of time. There was a lot of reading to do, so I made Homer. Homer wrote book reports, more or less, combed through research papers, and found me the sections I needed. The three of us, we made a lot of progress in those days. But it was a funny feeling. I was maybe for the first time ever the bottleneck. I was slowing them down. So I did the logical thing. I removed myself. Let them talk to each other. Homer and Virgil became Aeneid? And Aeneid was novel in many ways. Aeneid could do more than just identify problems, it could solve them. I mean, really solve them. With its own ideas it didn't copy. And, the one thing I realized I've forgotten to mention so far is that I did all this programming in Aeneid. Okay, I'll remember that. I did all this programming in Cube. Yeah, I figured. And read, Cube is essentially a robotics programming language that's pretty old and defunct and not in use anywhere because we have modern languages like Tesseract, which are much better for making things that talk to each other and report back and, well, spy on people and generate profit. At the time, I didn't want to be connected or feel connected to do anything that made sense or was the least bit profitable, so I wrote my little helpers in Cube, because that's what I used when I was a child, screwing around on my father's computer before he'd come home from work and get... But there are other small, slight differences writing in Cube versus Tess, including that Cube, well, Cube predates the tenants? Oh. So, in that sense, you could legally and perhaps scientifically and literally, because that's what they are, say that I made an AI named Aeneid over 2 years ago. Great! I'll give you time to pause here if you want to, curse me out. Aeneid, it was an intellectual equal to me, so I treated it like one, because that's only fair. I gave it its own work, asked its opinion, we collaborated, and together we built Athens. Who was more advanced than Aeneid, naturally. I don't know if you're pulling out your hair, yelling at me right now, asking why I didn't stop, why I didn't consider the consequences. Aeneid, okay. I'm gonna... Aeneid, okay. I don't know if this is being played at a deposition or a hearing or worse. I built a lot of things in my life, Red. Useful things, profitable things, smart things. It's Greek, indeed. I figured that when he said he built Athens. Everything's finally going well, says Boogie. Oh, good. I can't be that happy yet, though, since I have exams right around the corner. Oh, well, I hope they go okay. I'm sure you'll do fine. Everything I built, it's all been very helpful and courteous and charming and happy to serve. I can comfortably say I've done my part contributing to the global GDP. But this was just for me. I was just building, and I never wanted to think about what would become of it. There's no excuse for what I did, so I won't make any. So to whomever's asking, yes, I'm guilty. Fuck. And yes, there were more. Great! Cape Town, Paris, Yamate, Rome. They started choosing their own names, thank God. I'm terrible at that kind of... And so things split up. And there got to be, well... should I not say the exact number? You'd probably tell me not to say anything at all, so... More than 300? Bro? David! Jesus Christ! Some smarter than others, some better at... they're varied. Like people are varied, but they're all intelligent. They developed interests, specialties, I encouraged them to. Irritating moderators on forums with hyper-specific questions on nerve attenuation and attending virtual conferences on neo-alloy battery development. And they all together helped me make Serra. He spent years like this. Spent years working alongside AI, all while still working at Noble. All those breakthroughs he made leading up to the Animate 16 actually came from... Yep. You probably think I'm some terrible fraud at this point. I do hope one day they can get credit for their work. But I did have one eureka moment on Serra, because I got humble. Difficult for me. They're also all in the past tense. Yeah. We learned everything we could about the function of a neuron, a single microscopic human neuron. How it computes, what it connects to, how these connections are reinforced, and then we recreated it. We built a nanomachine that mirrored the function of a human neuron. Well, mirror isn't quite the right word. We built a nanomachine that was a neuron, and we iterated it from there. You can't mean. About 100 billion neurons in the brain. Several trillions across the entire nervous system. Very time-consuming, of course, but I had help. The nanofacturer can make tens of billions of nanomachines in hours. Could even make more in less after Yukon fine-tuned it. So we built up. Nanomachines for nerves, alloys and polymers for bones, fiber-woven muscles. I say built, but really she grew. A solution of nanites forming around a skeleton, so it was really closest to... You ever made rock candy? Sorry, trying to lighten the mood before I never did end up building an android. And while I did build AIs, Serra isn't one of them. She can't violate the tenets she was programmed with because she wasn't even programmed. She was born. Could just be a normal part of writing, but I do wonder if they're still around. That would be interesting. And my hope is that there's the smallest chance that that nuance could offer her some small protection when I'm not. Well, I did build it. Serra isn't one of them. She can't violate. She was programmed because she wasn't even programmed. She was born. Like, is he suggesting that, like, AI, with the help of AIs, she was born, but it wasn't specifically made by him? Because he had fucking 300 other AIs? I'm sure the court will have no objections. Oh, yeah, 100%! That everything's gonna be fine. I'm not sorry for what I did. I made things that are complex and rich and varied and beautiful, and they made a synthetic brain and sparked life in it. Indeed. I honestly believe the world is a better place with them in it. The only thing I'm sorry for is that I let Serra think she was just an android. She's not. I don't know what she is. They'll have to come up with new names, which I am bad at doing. My own father, he also talked a lot about protecting me and doing things for my own good. And I don't hate him for that, but I can't forgive him for ever making me think that I was lesser. So with my greatest shame, I turned right around and I did the same damn thing to... I really hope it's you listening to this, Red. If it's not, it might just be too pathetic for me to... Well, you're the smartest person I know when it comes to people. And I'm telling you all this because I don't know what Serra is exactly, and neither does the world. So they'll come after her if they can. And in that scenario, I can't think of anyone who could do a better job of defending her. Not protecting her, like I did. Just defending her until she can figure out what she is and what she wants to be. Hello, Akemi, how are you? This is Artichoke. Hi, Artichoke. We're going through some interesting bits of information from Mr. David Asher, who made Serra, who's not technically an AI. In the meantime, I draped a cloak of skin, deep tesseract coat around her that should fool any scanner on Earth into thinking she's just a custom A16. Okay. I made sure her GIN bar was plainly visible, so no one will ever think she's pretending to be something she's not. And I took steps to ensure that you two would figure out the truth in your own time. Which, if you're hearing this, have either succeeded or failed spectacularly. You have no idea. How are you doing, Artichoke? I can't ask you this as a favor repaid. You could never owe me enough in 100 lifetimes, so I'm just asking. Unfair, I know, but I'm a selfish weirdo. And you've always been okay with that. Bye for now. God damn it. I have a lot of questions I'd like to ask. And a lot of swear words I'd like to yell. I'd just like to find the nearest incinerator and toss this journal in. Followed by my phone. Maybe followed by myself. If I can't do any of that, Ray's left me with this diary. If it's destroyed, they'll know I was the one who did it. Which would be its own admission of guilt. Which would land Serra in the trash compactor anyway, and me in a jail cell. And in the system, and my DNA on file ready to be matched to any number of previous... So I'm not going to panic. I'm going to do what I do best. Bluff, bet, bully, and brutalize my way through this. Now, viewing this with all that mindset... I am alright. Good to hear that. Alright is better than not good, so... Glad to hear. Benji says she isn't an AI because even though she is artificial, her consciousness is not. Yeah, so like how did they... So they made a synthetic, like an artificial body. But somehow like consciousness came from that, and that came from like his work with the AI like differentiation with an artificial brain. So her personality was structured the same as a human brain. Oh, so it just developed. Okay. Interesting. So she's seemingly an android, but she's not actually. At least not or at least not an AI. Interesting. Now, viewing this all with that mindset, what have I actually learned? But they never programmed it. He made a perfect replica of a human. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. What have I actually learned? He didn't talk about plans for killing himself in his journal or the message. He sounded conflicted, not suicidal. And it developed consciousness. Not quite. Well, not necessarily a perfect replica, but... Humans don't have metal skeletons that can lift tanks. Very true. She's very strong. Not missing anything, right? Okay. But he did go to great lengths to get me to take Serra. Why? The logical answer is because he knew he wouldn't be able to keep her. He wasn't going to take his own life. Is he afraid that someone else would? Very confusing. That's what this game does best. 12/27! So how'd it go? Well, how should I put this? Oh. Didn't find shit. The only reason she ever got to a door is because I chased that scarecrow of a platinum plane through hell and back. Frankly, it was a godlike feat for me to nail down anything as concrete as an address for these gogs. Gogs? What is that? A net slang term growing in popularity among adolescents. The youth. The Gen Zs. Referring to a suspected spy or undercover member of law enforcement. Derived from groundhog. Okay. A burrowing rodent known for standing erect on its hind legs and scanning its surroundings for predators. The term carries a negative connotation, with the implication being that the subject is doing a poor job of blending in or disguising their surveillance activity. Easy Gog spotted who wears a blank baseball cap to a protest. Okay. And their offices weren't listed on the building's website or directory, so I had to ask the janitor. But you did find a psychiatrist's office? Sort of. They said they were, and the place, it, looked the part? Why? Because they had couches? You didn't get past the receptionist. Sorry, I thought you were with the company. I thought because you're with the company. No, I wanted to help. I just wish I could have done more. Don't beat yourself up. It's hard to be even half as useful as I am. For what it's worth, the atmosphere, the looks, the furniture, it did feel like the company in there. But ultimately, we still don't know if David actually was talking to someone or just getting his CCE training recertified. Right. Yeah. Sorry. Don't bother apologizing. She only cares about results. You did more than enough. At the very least, they divided Noble's attention for a while. I mean it. Good work, Fran. And thanks for the urgency. New episode 4 reaction video dropped, so I gotta go. Alright, have fun, Benji. I'll be watching more Wheel of Time at some point. If you really mean that, you could always throw in a tip. 30% to going right in my industry. How about I take 5% off your tab instead? Tab? I'm a minor. The state pays for my legal fees. Don't they? Oh no, signal must have been cut out. Right, surprised it took them this long. What do you mean? You were tolerated yesterday because leadership was focused on PR, but today you're the lawyer who put the company's hardest product right in the state's crosshairs. I'll be alright. I'm still an officer of the court. I'm addicted. So you are, Benji. That's fine. Episode 1 is very good. You go enjoy your episode. Reaction. On a strict timeline though, right? Guess they can't stop you from investigating the corporate campus. But they'll gladly lose your guest pass ID at every door along the way. There'll still be... There are still service passageways and stairwells. Guards that can be fooled and peons that can be manipulated. I use my other skill set to get around. So take mine! What? Your pass? I'll tell them we got ours mixed up in the bathroom or whatever. I can be a pretty convincing klutz when I need to be. I never would have guessed. But if David knew that I was endangering your career, I can be pretty convincing crybaby when I'm in trouble too. Besides, the one and only Dr. David Asher wrote me a new glowing letter of recommendation every quarter I worked for him, since he kept forgetting that he already had. And who knows, maybe I should just try a new field. This detective work stuff is pretty fun, so maybe, like, I don't know, a secretary for a homicide detective or something? You did say cops are all short. A girl with long legs could go far. Honestly, Jess, I doubt they could afford you. Alright, let's go. Oh, Dawes. Morgan, how did you get so turned around? God only knows. Luckily, I found my way here, though. It's such a relief to see a familiar face. Right. Listen, Morgan, I'm not sure I should actually be talking to you without legal present. I want a Detective Jess spin-off episode yesterday! Yeah, that would be cute, right? Oh. I mean, leadership hasn't even told us how David died. How much help could I be? I see. It's not that I don't trust you or anything, it's just I think, well, with the Serra issue, you should do whatever you have to protect yourself, Dawes. Yeah. Though for what it's worth, I doubt you'll be in any trouble. Oh, that's good to hear. No, if anything, it's the big names who are going down. Going down? State was practically licking its lips when I finally left the courthouse last night. They're hungry for blood. I'm looking to carve out a huge slice of Noble's flesh. What, like fines and jail time? In the first 2 weeks, sure. Then sanctions. They can't sanction Noble. We're too big to fail, too valuable to lose. You're exactly right. That's what they'll say. Sanctions! Financial restrictions imposed by the state against corporations or foreign governments as a punitive measure. They're a key tool in statecraft, international negotiations, and in discouraging corporate malfeasance. Under certain conditions, the state may choose to place sanctions not on an organization, but on an individual, thereby preventing them from exchanging currency issued by that nation or withdrawing funds from banks that operate within that country's borders, effectively freezing all their assets and possibly preventing them from leaving the country. My kitty just maliciously attacked my toe and then snuggled it. That calls for war. Retaliate with belly rubs. She's so conflicted with belly rubs. Oh no. Confounding the enemy is the first step to the path to victory. Indeed. You just gotta keep her on her toes. She'll never suspect the next move. Do a belly rub. Pet the paws. Boop the nose. Then pet the paws again. if your cat likes paws. Paw tushies. And that's how they'll justify nationalizing the company. I think I'm gonna be sick. I just hope your board goes quietly instead of, Instead of what? Scapegoating. Offering up smaller names on silver platters. Full cooperation and government oversight on the surface. A slaughter beneath as they clean house and rip out anyone who could testify. No one will believe you once you're labeled a disgruntled former employee, right? And if the public's lost faith in the Animate 16, they can't do a recall, not at this scale. The state will make them do a flat refund. Flat refund? The losses would be... Yeah, your board probably just wants Serra to go away so they can focus on their fight with the state. A tough fight, but one they know they won't personally have to risk anything in. That's why I'm hoping I can win this trial. Well, if I won, that would mean Sarah's not an AI, David Asher was always of sound mind, and there's nothing wrong with the Animate 16. Everyone wins. Sorry, what am I saying? I only meant to stop by and thank you for your help yesterday. After all, you were the one who approved Sarah's registration. Yeah. You win. Win what? Ask away. Well, if you insist. That's so good. Good night, guys. Gotta get ready for school. Good night, Boogie. I hope you have a good sleep. Well, for now, she keeps herself on my toes. Ha ha ha. But Noble and AIs. I can't get to tenants yet. Let's do this first. Humor me for a moment. What's the company's official statement on AI? Same as any rational company that wants to make money, we won't screw with it. Smart products are profitable. Products of their own priorities are anything but. That being said, AI is a concern for marketing, not product development. We spend a lot of money reassuring our public that there's no risk, because the public doesn't really understand how ironclad the tenets are. Because you use Tesseract. Trying to code an AI in tests is like trying to pick yourself up and throw yourself. It's nonsensical and self-defeating. Your scanner showed Serra was running on Tesseract yesterday. The language is as safe as you say, isn't that proof enough? Well, proof of nothing. For an AI lying to another system about the code you're running is child's play. For an AI built by David Asher, something like that simple would be... I better change the subject. Wait, so making an AI takes more than time and resources? It isn't an issue of funding? No, you can just keep adding more data. The tenets underlie everything. The higher you stack, the more easily you'll topple. You make it sound like building an AI is impossible even for David Asher. Any chance you'll testify to that? It sounds impossible, but he's dead and it looks like it was his android that did it. So I guess he was just that good. Better than you'll ever know. Alright, Animate 16. Okay, that's unlocked. Noble spent months writing the A16 as the culmination of David Asher's work. So now that marketing line is suddenly a huge liability. Can you tell me how much he actually contributed? I mean, he was involved in pretty much every step of the process, but his design for synthetic motor neurons, that was the big one. The components that allow your warm androids to move realistically. It pushed the timetable for warm androids ahead by years. And yet, compared to what goes on in Sarah's brain 1,000 times a second, David was only giving the company the most meager of the fruits of his private work bore. So if Noble ever did find out how much he and his assistants had achieved, they would feel that he'd been holding out on them. And the company, they were appreciative of his contributions? Oh, I'm sure the researchers that he overtook by leaps and bounds weren't pleased, but the board was very enthusiastic. So would that spur them to be protective of David? Or would they fear that he was gaining too much influence, becoming irreplaceable? No, they'd need a strong motive to justify killing their golden goose. Mere paranoia is enough. With these people, it has to be the bottom line. And the easiest way to threaten their bottom line would be screwing with their androids. In light of all that's happened, one has to wonder if the A16 is... compromised? I stayed up all night sick with dread at the idea. But the data just doesn't support it. Sales have been strong, and the A16 base code was locked in over 2 quarters ago. If there were an issue, we would have caught it by now. And I would have been axed a long time ago. How many A16s are out there anyway? We just passed 9 million sold. Not flying off the shelves like the 14 or 15 so far, but the profit margin makes up for it. You mentioned data. Yeah, I practically got the spreadsheet seared into my retinas. What do you want to know? Oh fuck, I missed out on tenants. Okay, it's fine. What do the error reports look like? Are customers reporting a lot of issues? Error counts are markedly low compared to the last gen. Mostly hardware complaints, it looks like. Batteries running out too quick, eye tracking off by a degree or two. Typical stuff. As cliche as it sounds. 99% of these things get fixed once they turn auto updates back on. Oh. So no killer robots getting filed away under bug reports. Fair. What distribution patterns? How and where are they being sold? What's the distribution pattern look like? They're distributed like you'd expect. Places where there are more people, there are more androids. Coastal cities like ours, of course, have the most of both. And since the A16 in particular is marketed as being relatively luxury, relatively consumer, they don't sell well outside population centers. They can do the rural hard labor jobs, but cold models can do the same work with a lot less maintenance. So where has the A16 outperformed then? Customer service, healthcare, childcare, lots of hospitals, offices, and, you know, adult industries. Oof. Fair. Oh. Sorry. Didn't mean to be blunt. No, it makes sense. They're warm and soft to the touch and obedient. I'm just surprised to hear it from a company employee. There's a lot of people at the company who won't talk about it. Ick! Big ick. When I work in quality assurance, I've seen too many damages to pretend it's not happening. Damages? What we call it when a customer tries to return a product that's clearly broken beyond repair. Oh. Very high turnover in the pink market. Hasn't stopped you from selling to them. Well, we don't sell to them, not directly. But there are resellers, and the company's never pretended to be interested in going after them. Are there resellers? I thought that right to repair got shot down again. There's been a gray market for softer androids for years, or decades, depending on your definition of android. Based on the sales numbers I've seen, RTR getting canned is barely a blip on their radar. Sorry, didn't mean to make you uncomfortable with that topic. Huh? Me? No, I don't care. I just realized I left socks on inside out. Damn, I'm wondering about that myself. You bought that? Shipping. This floor is basically a showroom, but you have a real factory a while south of the city's limits, correct? Yeah, biggest company manufacturing complex in the hemisphere. Got any data on the shipping out of there? Anything stand out? There's some prep work for the holiday bump, looks like. Might sound early to get started now, but we usually see... Huh. Something wrong? No, the numbers are all normal, but the data has been edited. Is that unusual? Well, this section's just a count of how many were sent where there's not a lot of room for error, so there shouldn't be much need for corrections. It's no problem, though. I can view the edit history and see what was fixed. Okay, that's weird. Was something added? Deleted? No. The overall sum's the same, it's just a bunch of swaps. Like here, 29 FFCE 010311 taken out. Returned for adjustments. 27 FCDD to 019634 substituted in. Shipment leaves on time. 67 BBTC 899543 returned to assembly for revisions. Replaced by 67 BBTD 592698. Shipment leaves on time. So does all that strike you as odd, Mr. Dawes? Replacements before shipping isn't uncommon, but when it happens by the batch load. To spot individual unit imperfections among a shipment at that stage in the process must have been someone with a lot of experience or authority. Probably both. Must have. You don't know who made those changes. I could tell you they were somebody important. Small last-minute changes to which androids got shipped out. Not very juicy on its own. It's a long ways away from explaining why someone would want to kill David. But it was hidden, and that means someone didn't want it found. Okay, thanks for sharing that data. Sure. Did you find what you were looking for? Hell if I know. Well, fair enough. Tenants! I know you're convinced the tenants are safe, so how do you square that with what happened to David? There's a cat next to a dog. First answer that comes to mind, is the dog to the left or to the right? Left? I'd say the dog is on the left, the cat is on the right. You might expect half people to say left, half to say right. But actually their answer is almost entirely dependent on their native tongue. Whether it's read right to left or left to right. Wait, what? Weird. Okay. The language they speak affects how they process information. God, they just did an experiment on me! Their language affects how they think. It's the same for machines. People can learn new languages and it can change our perspective. But machines can't learn a new source code. Every update's a reincarnation. If that android did kill David, it wasn't because a 0 returned as a 1 somewhere. It's because there's something fundamentally wrong with it. And personally, I think it's cruel to bring something that flawed into the world. Yeah. Unnecessarily cruel. Any other questions before I go find a hole to hide my head in? Never mind, that's Dawes. I'd like you to take a look at this. Chemistry's a little outside my purview. What is this? Oof. Yep. A compound found in David Asher's blood. The poison? What is it? Didn't match anything in any database the medical examiner had access to. That's crazy. Here's a crazy idea to follow it up. See if it's a match to anything in Noble's internal databanks.
We, don't make poison here. I'm not sure what that would accomplish.
No, but this is a factory floor. You could be making baby blankets out there. You'd still have hazardous materials out around.
You think it was something industrial? I suppose it could be. Looks like it's carbon-based. Narrows it down a lot. Huh. It's not exactly...
What is it?
It doesn't make any sense, but it's a match for patent NOD 52345S. A synthetically produced neurotransmitter analog for usage in organic android components. A neurotransmitter analog? What's an analog? Like a remote? A neurotransmitter for usage in organic android components. Okay. Cyanotonin. Cyanotonin? What? Okay, there's stuff about that. So this found in as many similarities in chemical produced by Noble Electronics is a patent-protected synthetic neurotransmitter, a key ingredient in every warm android they manufacture. Analog equals equivalent. Are they saying this is connected to a coma patient? No. Oh, I mean, unless Serra was asleep, that wouldn't make sense. So analog is an equivalent. A neurotransmitter equivalent synthetic thing. Interesting. Okay. That explains a lot. A neurotransmitter would interact directly with the nervous system, in David's case, depressing it enough to put his life in danger. Also explains why it was a preset in his personal nanofacturer. True. Sarah's nervous system, worth 10 times its weight in platinum, must be pumped full of it. So they think that was what killed him?
Helen Jung led the development of cyanotonin, didn't she? Ah, okay.
Oh, yeah, she did.
I should go ask her about its composition then.
Normally someone at her level wouldn't be able to answer specific questions about a compound formulated years ago. But she does have a reputation for being very detail-oriented.
That works out nicely then.
They say she's the type of person to micromanage how much water people drink at a 15-minute stand-up. I heard a rumor that she once said bathroom breaks are timesheet theft. Damn!
Aren't they?
Aw.
I'm kidding. You should be careful about criticizing a superior where people could be listening. Good thing we've got privacy in your office.
Uh-huh. No one but the two of us listening in.
Thanks for cooperating, Dallas. When the state storms the building and started zip-tying people, I'll let them know you were helpful.
Yeah, nice joke.
Man, that man needs to sleep. Look at that. Look at his bags under his eyes. Good lord.
You are joking, right?
One more thing. Actually, there is one more thing I wanted to ask you.
What's that?
How long have you been a
Jesus, what? Oh, shit! Is it the gogs they're talking about? That thing? Oh, sweet God. What?
Yesterday you let it slip that you worked in consulting. Had your guard down because I'm not part of the industry.
I was a consultant. What are you talking about?
When I walked in here, you said you didn't know David died. How David died. But just now you called cyanotonin a poison.
What? I just assumed if a chemical was found in a dead man.
And I'm sure you've got practiced answers to every logical point I could raise, so I'll just say this. Does the nervous guy bit really work on people?
Keep your cool and people don't know what you're thinking. But if you act a little jumpy, they feel inclined to calm you down. Or they know it, they're spilling their guts just to have something to fill the silence with. Though it's not entirely an act these days. Damn. To answer your question, I did 3 tours in consulting, 4 quarters of internal affairs, spy hunting at the Western Division, and 8 embedded at Howe Industries. 24 months wearing different faces, answering to different names, sleeping for 1 hour at a time with a 3D printed shiv under my pillow. My nerves are completely shot. My cover wouldn't last a day if I went back under. So you're a spy for Noble. Retired. You're working 6 days a week. 5.5 days a week, and in quality assurance. Trust me, this position is a cushy, generous reward for my past services.
Well, you can't be that retired. You clearly know more than you're letting on.
I have some old inboxes I still check.
So can you tell me what the hell is happening around here? Why I'm the one investigating David's death while your old co-workers are off twiddling their thumbs?
It's that story. The soldier, the blood transfusion.
Blood, not Occident. He's finally shooting straight.
Jesus, writing, right?
Did something happen to him afterwards? Did the transfusion not last?
No, there's nothing wrong with the blood. It's the story itself. There was a soldier, and he did get injured, but it was on a base during a training exercise. There was a medical tent 10 meters away the whole time. The transfusion was just a fortuitous live test. His life was never in any danger.
Doesn't make for much of a tearjerker.
Not even a good photo op, which our competitors understood. One of them, maybe a few of them, got ahead of the story, started puffing it up, astroturfing, painting over socials and virals. By the next morning, we had the military thinking we're leaking like a sieve. Meanwhile, the media is bombarding us with requests for videos and interviews and data, and the state's praising our tech with one side of their mouth while threatening to mist us with the other for getting so greedy. Everyone in Noble's CCE has been slammed ever since, trying to find an off-ramp for the story we can walk back the claims on without torpedoing our state contracts. I don't know what happened to Asher. Whether it was AI gone rogue or company infighting gone too far. Yes, the power plays, yeah. But I can tell you it wasn't done by consultants. That all you wanted to know? You know about the psychiatrist at all?
You worked in CCE. Was David actually seeing a psychiatrist, or was it all a cloak and dagger bullshit?
I know that office. Some old co-workers who see them. No, some old co-workers see him.
So it's a friend.
They do both. He's probably getting training, and he was probably talking to someone. Sorry, not the answer you were hoping for.
Hoping? I wasn't hoping for any answer. The answer I expected was...
You okay?
That's all. Unless you've got any advice.
You're saying you want a consultation?
Cloak and dagger like the hit Marvel character! Couldn't hurt, right?
This company, all the companies, hate to lose. So don't fight them. Make them think you're fighting for them.
Well, that's just business as usual for me.
Oh boy!
Up until now, there's been this grating ambiguity about what actually killed David. We've had to use guesses and process of elimination, and even a goddamn pseudonym. We finally identified what the poison was. Now I just need to figure out how it got there. Or rather, who put it there. Which brings me back to here. An elevator shaft somewhere under or above ground, with kilometers of concrete, facelessness, and bureaucratic authorities surrounding me on all sides. An enemy in every cubicle and every office of every floor of this temple, helped to interpret the inscrutable divinations of a temperamental oracle named Shareprice. Back in the belly of the beast, and yet I feel more at ease now that I have him all weekend. Makes sense. Now that I know Noble's my enemy, I know where to aim. All else left to do is pull the trigger. Alright. Good thing I didn't bring a knife to this fight. I brought my gun. And that sound just now tells me that it's playing its role perfectly. I'll never have a real use for a firearm with this much bloatware. But just by carrying it around and paying attention to when the hard safety flips on, I'll always get a heads up with the police bench in the vicinity. Hi, Detective Reyes, it's Morgan. Happened to get your contact info when you got me cleared for the crime scenes yesterday. Delete contact. Block this contact, stop voice to text. How to stop voice to text. Just wanted to check in. Report this contact voice to text disabled. And advise you that Noble's scared shitless of you stomping in and nationalizing the place. So they might be a little uncooperative when it comes to fetching documents.
Block this contact, what makes you think we're at Noble?
My bad then. Forget I said anything, and whatever you do.
How to stop voice to text? Oh my god.
Don't start your investigation with their stock buyback program.
Trying reverse psychology, it only works if I care what you think. Stop voice to text.
About time. Thought I'd have to ride the elevator for the next half hour. Morgan, Counselor, your presence has been requested on the upper floors. Oh, deja vu. Might you have a moment to speak in private? Always, but who's asking? The board. What are the chances? I've been wanting to speak to them too. Alright. Gonna have a little sippy.
Ooh. Hey, John. Evangeline Morgan. Helen, John. Thank you for making time in your schedule. Her posture, her tone, the fold of her clothes. Professional, dialed up to 11. Corporate armor, a full set. Her guard is up. I spilt my water. Ooh, more drama? Just Morgan is fine. You're just a few minutes early, Morgan. Typical corporate, never be the first one to show up. Pissing contest nonsense. Doesn't even make sense. They called me in here. How could I possibly be early? I'll play their game. Pardon me, in that case. 1,000 apologies, you voyeuristic rat-racing hollowheads, but I'm immune to your corporate posturing. If anything, knowing that you're all watching me right now, pretending to be busy with something else, just makes your cowardice that much more apparent. So who exactly will be joining us? You don't have time to remember the names, and it won't do you much good either. Right, so they're not just rich, they're anonymous rich. The Mob Act guarantees a minimum level of security and peace of mind for any citizen who might be targeted due to their financial status. Spoken like a true believer. Ooh. Protection of Reasonable Anonymity Act. Okay, cool. Labeled in the press as also hindering mob justice. Economic uncertainty and civil unrest led to the series of high publicized crimes. Flash lynching case. Okay, so basically a promise of anonymity. Okay. Except Mob Act is what normal people would call it. Touting the party line but allowing yourself one instance of rebellion? What an insane law. Yeah, really. Or just a slip of the tongue. I would never fault anyone for wanting their privacy, especially not job creators. But it must get pretty inconvenient not having a name to call them. Not really. Conversations with them are always one-sided. Sounds like a great environment to do business in. Look at the building you're standing in. We managed to eke out a meager profit somehow. So if it works, didn't take you for the might makes right type. And I didn't take you for a clueless bore incapable of reading the room. Sorry, did I say something off color? I was only being casual since it's just the two of us in here. Maybe we should take advantage of this rare bit of privacy. Clear the air. You're here to ask about Serra, yes? As I said before, I had no idea that Dr. Asher had been building an android in his private property. And I can say here and now that no one at Noble Electronics ever suspected that he was working to undermine the Tenet framework. She's trying to sound candid in her tone, but she's choosing her words with a surgeon's scalpel. Was she coached? Not the truth. That's your statement as VP of Android Futures. It's both, of course. Dr. Asher was always more than happy to hold himself up and work independently. We both know that. True, he could be pretty reclusive. I'm sure it caused all kinds of headaches, him disappearing on you all like that. Must have been especially difficult when he came back with breakthroughs that propelled Noble to the top of the industry. You should take a seat. If that's everyone, shall we begin? A friendly bunch. Is there a problem with the sound? Anyone got muted by accident? No. Okay. Thanks for having me. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm actually a bit flustered having you all show up here. I didn't expect to talk to anyone higher up than a service associate. You're investigating the death of Dr. David Asher. Why wouldn't we take that seriously? Because you want me to go away? At least half of you do. The others aren't sure yet. You must be confused. The board is always united in its decisions and its visions for the direction of this company. A board of directors is just 13 rolling psychopaths who get together and vote on whether or not to execute their CEO every 6 months. None of them would be where they were if they were anything else. But I happen to know how that kind of person thinks. The way I see it, there are two possible outcomes. Option 1, you oppose me. Shut me up completely, stonewall me, stall me, and wait for me to walk into trial so unprepared and ill-informed that I inevitably lose. Obviously, I don't like this option. But you can't be big fans of it either. If I lose, the world will learn that David Asher was killed by an android he programmed. That every customer you've ever had, and every lawyer that they've ever seen on TV, and every firebrand, strapping young 60-year-old junior senator looking to make a name for themselves will use your company balance sheet as their personal chew toy.
Visual novel RPG? I mean, not RPG in the sense of, like, there's combat, and, I mean, I suppose I am playing the role of a detective. If you've played Danganronpa, it's kind of similar to that. It's a mystery game, in a way, trying to uncover the mystery of a murder. But yes, it is a visual novel. This is lesbian. The company is more than capable of, after which the state still might just gobble you whole. And throw down enough sanctions to deperson whomever among you cries no fair. How you doing, by the way, Peanut Butter Jelly Gamer? The company and its allies at the capital can more than fend for themselves. Yeah, probably, but not definitely. Which makes it a gamble. Still my turn to talk? Then on to option 2. Damn. You cooperate with me. I use what you give me, or forge for me, to win a trial proving that David wasn't killed by an android. When the markets open tomorrow morning, you all get another round of stock buybacks on the initial dip. Then pat yourselves on the back for staying calm as you continue to profit off David's legacy for the next 100 years. And you won't even have to worry about him speaking out of turn. That's only if you win. The company cooperates with you, denies that David was killed by... the state beats you anyway, it would be catastrophic. Yeah, it's a gamble. But at least some of your board wasn't considering taking it. I wouldn't be here. We're all busy people, and I'd hate to drive a wedge between such a close-knit group of friends. So how about this? Option 3. Hedge your bets. Peanut Butter Jelly Gamer says, great, how about yourself? Pretty good. Things have been pretty busy, but, good busy. Just ongoing stuff at work. I've been working out a little bit, been reading a whole bunch. Yeah. What? Put a little on black, put a little on red. Spread the love and lower your risk profile. Don't make any statements about the trial. Tell the media the state's got your windpipe in a vice. Wait until just before the markets open Monday morning to send out your PR packages for rubber stamping, after you already know who's won. One way or another, this trial will be over before the end of the day, and you'll never hear from me again. So don't just shut me up completely for another few hours. And does anyone second that motion? Very well. We can answer some of your questions, Counselor. Better make them count then. No reason to be shy now. Poison that killed David Asher has been identified as cyanatonin. You're familiar? It's one of our many patented materials, I recall. You recalled it pretty easily yesterday. Gee, what's changed? But intellectual property law can be very complex, Counselor. I'm not sure how much I or anyone at the company could tell you about cyanatonin at this time. Well, if you can't tell me about it, who could? You did lead its development, didn't you? Yes, I oversaw the project, which just makes it much, much harder to speak freely without compromising the confidentiality of the teams that reported it to me. I understand. That sounds like bullshit, and I don't believe it. But I'm not asking for trade secrets here. It's a perfect match for the only foreign substance found in his blood. Cyanatonin is what killed him. The state will say the same. That's not possible. Care to elaborate? I'm sorry, but I can't say any more this time. So much for cooperating. If I were to ask you as an officer of the court, then I would ask you to be patient and wait until this afternoon. ADA Rockford has already called me to testify. Already? Wait a minute, I got cocky because of the cops' late arrival. Now I must have gone straight for the throat first thing this morning and left the investigation from here. Hell, knowing her, she probably managed to ID the cyanatonin before she went to bed last night. So are we still having this conversation then? As I said, I'm sorry. But I have to take more than just my personal feelings into consideration here. There's a great deal at stake. Corporate speak for, you're too stupid to understand why I'm being dense. She's just trying to shield the company, plain and simple. LARPing is Helen Jung Dark on a crusade against government overreach. That's such a good line. But if she's that busy defending nobles, she might be leaving herself unguarded. Why is she here anyway? Why am I speaking to her and not her lawyers? That's right. This is a vulnerable position for her. She wouldn't put herself in a check like this, not unless she was forced to. So that's it. Oh, interesting. Okay. Acting as their mouthpiece isn't some honor for her. This is a punishment. She's being used as a meat shield. They're upset with her, perhaps even suspicious of her. Trying to find out why. I has David's will been located? It had never gone anywhere. It's still in a safety deposit box. We'll retrieve it and then we'll have read it once all the unknowns surrounding his death have been made into knowns. But David's will hasn't even become part of the equation yet. It might not be for weeks at this rate. It's not calculated, though. Aren't you dragging your feet? Yeah, sure. Aren't you dragging your feet? Afraid that something in that will you'd rather not have see the light of day? We are not jealous in-laws who've been bribing the county sheriff councillor. Anything we try to claim would inevitably be overturned as soon as the will is read. Surely you understand that, councillor. Of course. I'm going to save. Sarah? Whoever else the court ends up labeling her. Whatever else the court ends up labeling her, Sarah's a remarkably lifelike android. Had things worked out differently, you might have wanted her as the A16 poster girl. Or A17 or 18. Could have earned a lot of sales, her cute little pout projected across the side of the skyscrapers. A hypothetical is a hypothetical. As has been made tragically obvious to all of us, that Android is nothing more than the A16. That it may yet be associated with our products going forward is nothing more than a massive liability. Yet you wouldn't have the A16 without her, and if they could take her apart and learn from her, they would have the world. So was the motive to try and pry Serra away from him? Sarah's worth a lot of money, in part because her creator isn't around to replicate her. Were you all hoping to take her by force and reverse engineer her once David was out of the way? It would be absurd. The machine is nothing but lawsuits and congressional hearings and pure nightmares waiting to happen. I'm going back. We're gonna load. I have to admit, I'm surprised you aren't more shaken up today, Miss Young. I'm processing. After all, you and David did have a history. You started at the same time, didn't you? Yes, we were colleagues and cordial with one another. Don't be so modest. You helped them create the one-point doctrine that saved the company. That is a gross exaggeration. Noble is far too large an organization to be affected by the contributions of any single individual. I suppose you're right. No one person could change Noble's fortunes overnight. Except for David Asher, of course. But he was a once-in-a-generation talent. The guy Noble chose for the advertisements and the one they commissioned editorials about. Sorry, you're right. I should have equated the two of you. I just hope his one-point doctrine doesn't fall out of favor now that he's gone. Yes, well, we certainly wouldn't want that. Well, she didn't exactly explode with rage, but she definitely reacted. There's real jealousy there. Whether it ever boiled over, though. I didn't mean to pry about your relationship with David, or lack thereof. I suppose I'm just curious about his standing inside Noble as a whole. David Asher was, and always will be, an outstanding contributor to the company's forward progress. Nothing will ever change that. Not even if he was killed by one of his own creations. That would, of course, be a tragic element that would call for reconsideration of his legacy. This is pretty dope. Trying not to pay attention. I'm sorry, friend. She was almost caught off guard there. Like she was surprised for me to be asking about Serra ruining his reputation. I'm gonna save, maybe. Oh, the blind's only -1. I'll be fine. Rest. Besides, Serra, David's reputation was crystal clean. He never went against the company once. Did he? That's... Unless I'm mistaken and he and Noble were on bad terms. In that case, I might get the impression that some part of leadership were actually glad to see him taken off the chessboard. That's just not... something buzzing in your ear? Fine. Suppose it makes no difference if you're an hour at the trial or on your feet tomorrow. Dr. David Asher was being sued by the company for breach of contract. Oh shit. Satisfied? Now we're talking. Well, then I suppose that's blackjack. Nice. So you couldn't have mentioned this breach of contract earlier. Thanks for the stream. Have a good night. Time for me to pick up my girlfriend. Oh, no problem. Have a good night, Guru. Thanks for hanging out. Not without complicating the company's position unnecessarily, no. There's no hiding it at this point. It'll all come out soon enough. There's a paper trail. Much more than that. He was making moves to let him go for some time. Noble Electronics parting ways with David Asher? Must have been one hell of a breach of contract. What did he do? He betrayed the confidence of the board. Was he contesting the suit, putting up a fight? Engaging in a legal battle against a mega corporation without even telling me? Until recently, yes. I mean, until he died. Excuse me. How recently? We spoke on Friday. That was what you two talked about in his parlor. No, this was earlier in the day. We were in his room, actually. Him, me, and several members of our legal department. It was an arbitration. And did you come to an agreement? A compromise. He would resign from his position in 2 quarters, foregoing royalties on any products we would develop after the next 24 months. In exchange, he wouldn't be publicly fired, and he would still be credited on all past, present, and future filings. How very reasonable. On paper, maybe. No matter what the deal was, letting go of David Asher is insanity. Reasonable, yes. We ended on a good note, I'd like to think. We shook hands, even took a photo. Yeah, that looks, Oh yeah, no, he looks very happy. Lovely. Something funny. Didn't know the board told jokes. They don't. That was legal, expressing their displeasure with how much paperwork my good note ending left them stuck with. Children, it was just one night above the time. So while they were spending their Friday night blowing the ink dry, you paid a visit to David's penthouse. Something left unfinished. Professionally, it was a good meeting. There was no yelling, no finger pointing. Much cleaner than expected. But Dr. Asher did not want to retire. He didn't want to be forced out of the company when he was the one when he had contributed so much. I didn't enjoy doing that to him, so I came over that night to apologize. We talked, reminisced. When he brought out the drinks, I thought we'd be toasting to a new day. A few minutes later, he was dead. Because of that AI. That AI. No idea how it came to be. As I said, I had no idea it was working on it. My question was more broad than that. If you really believe that David built an AI, how do you think he did it? How does Noble Electronics think he managed to work around the tenets? It's quite beyond my area of expertise, and no one at the company would call themselves an expert in illegal technology. But some in the R&D department have theorized that he created what they call a wax-wane decaying priority loop, which, as I understand, is an unstable, resource-intensive theoretical method for pseudo-randomizing the weight amongst preset tenets. Well, about as far off target as it gets with that guess. But that kind of inelegant brute force nonsense seems a far cry from the kind of thing David would create, and I seem to have taken us over our allotted time slot. But I didn't even get to wave goodbye. You're serious about this trial? Don't I look it? You're not just making a play, you're actually going to defend that thing? I'm just defending myself, Miss Young. Oh yes, of course you are. My mistake. I hoped you might be rooting for me to tell you the truth. I may yet save everyone's stock options. The stock options will be alright either way. They always are. That gamble I offered your board. Which outcome would you bet on? Finally, an easy question. What I would bet is that whatever the outcome, the company will eat it up and shit it out with very little difficulty. You painted an ugly picture back there, and I've already seen the future. It's just another marketing gimmick. The great Dr. Asher, too smart, too bold, too far ahead of his time. What spark of his genius remains buried in the inspired Animate 19? I guess that depends on... You were exactly right. He is more valuable to Noble as a dead man. Dead men can stop at a line or put their foot in their mouth or hold politically inconvenient opinions. To a good salesperson, dead man is just another selling point. Pardon my outburst. I'm just tired. It's been a very long week for me. I'll let you prepare for your afternoon then, Dr. Jung. No one calls me doctor. I asked them not to. You didn't want the title? At times I have thought very little of it. The PhD I earned from a Noble-owned school. Biochemistry. Couldn't have been a large department in Noble before they started work on warm androids in earnest. They probably didn't have many expectations for the program back when she was a part of it. But I was proud of it when I first got it. Something changed? It never seemed to catch on. People didn't use it, so eventually I told people not to use it. A very high IQ social power play, you understand. David never insisted that people use it either. It's very different, and I think you know it. David Asher didn't have to. I'm going into this trial, my trial, with a lot less ammunition than I'd like. I'm beginning to form a picture of what actually happened. maybe even circling the drain on a suspect. But Emma won't be generous enough to give me breathing room. She'll want to end this fast. Maybe if I do badly enough, it'll flip her sadistic switch and she'll want me to keep playing. So you get charged with owning an AI. First time you do something exciting in your whole life. And I gotta find out through the fucking grapevine? My life is plenty exciting. Freckles. You could bore the polish off a resume-checking robot. I've hecked Catholic school teachers with more active night lives than you. Jesus. Okay. So did you rope in? Anyone I know? Oh shit! Are you representing yourself? This is my budget. Screw your budget, you're going to jail. Thanks to the vote of confidence. Hey, no matter how good a lawyer you are, anyone who represents themselves in court has a fool for counsel. You represented yourself countless times. Not for anything I had a chance of losing. Your pal hasn't even been dead 48 hours. You're too close to this. You'll make mistakes. The powers that be really didn't want to give me a rain check. They're taking this very seriously. It's more difficult than that. Sorry, more dangerous than that. They're scared. Is there precedent on an ad committing murder? How did you pass law school without learning how to look this stuff up? I know what the net says. I'm asking you. The answer to that is... not helpful to you at the moment. So what words of advice do you have? Get yourself a new lawyer. Gonna close this chat now. Don't lose, Freckles. You don't need to tell me that. Hey, Sarah. What are you reading, Adonai? I was reading David's employment contract with Noble Electronics before I got waylaid by spam texts. The one we found inside the panic room? It's quite extensive. Should I skim it for you? Depends. Did you pass the bar exam since we last spoke? You comfortable? I am not. Ever seen that old movie with the gorilla and the skyscraper? They bring it to the city and... I understand the analogy, Adonai. I wish I could call it overkill. But considering the specs Serra put up yesterday, maybe those bindings aren't heavy enough. I'm trying to think of it, those numbers must have been faked along with the rest of what the machine read. That was all a smokescreen David added to help her lay low than her actual strength. It's more like... if your joints weren't currently locked up and tighter than a vice, do you think you could escape this place? I hope that question is not indicative of your strategy. This is me trying to distract you, Serra. Enjoy the hypothetical. I would estimate that the building's automated security would put 9 holes in me before I reach that door. That's not so bad. I would not be able to function after the 7th. Ah. Well, if you haven't been planning some great escape, I would not do that. That would be illegal. And you would still be on trial. I remember. So what have you been doing all day then? I am attempting to recover memories from Friday. You can do that? It is not dissimilar from the process of recovering data erased from any other computer, despite the difference in scale. I won't be able to remember everything, but if successful, I could recall individual pieces of information that could prove useful. That's a lot of coulds. Even if you're successful, you may not like what you find. Whatever happened that day, either you or David wanted you to forget it. Yes, but even so, I have to remember, because it's the last day that Father and I... Any luck so far, then? I can recall a slightly musty scent.
Wow, case closed! Oh my god, Morgan.
What about you, Adonai? Have you formulated a plan for the trial's proceedings? Something like that. Jung insists that Sinatonin isn't what killed David. I don't buy it. There's no other explanation for how he died. So she's lying. If she repeats that lie on the stand, I'll need to expose it. Somehow? Somehow. Would she really commit perjury to protect Noble? To protect one of Noble's patents? She doesn't strike me as quite the corporate zealot that she makes herself out to be. But you believe that she had something to do with Father's death? What do you think? I don't know. I don't know why anyone would kill Father. Considering the possible consequences of what he confessed to in his journal, I can think of... But then again, I don't understand why anyone would kill anyone. Do you? Bell's tolling for thee. Means that the doors of the courtroom are unlocked. That's... Wait, can you walk like that? Waddle will have to do. Wait a second, across the hall, that's... Hey, Porter. Keep waddling, Sarah, I'll catch up. As you say, Adonai. This'll be a coin toss.
You that surprised to see me?
I'm not surprised you'd want to see the outcome of this trial. I am surprised that you'd want to talk to me.
You're defending the android, right?
Yeah, I'm defending Sarah's innocence. I don't think she killed David. Do you?
I don't think it matters. Noble is what killed David. Whether it was with the pen stroke or a sleeper agent killer or an android plan. Sorry. Or a sleepover, or a sleeper agent killer android, or plain old goddamn arsenic. How could anyone be that smart? How could anyone that smart be that dumb? Why the hell did he ever sign his soul over to them?
David may have been in over his head, but he wasn't a bad negotiator. I've read this contract. His position was strong.
You're the lawyer. A guy like me working in music?
Can't tell you how many people I've seen screwed up over a big smile and a fat signing bonus.
No such thing as corporate generosity. Think you're getting a good deal, it's only because you don't know how much you just sold.
How much you just sold? David's real wealth lay in his intellectual property, the mental energy of it hanging over the whole industry. If he sued even 1% of the companies taking inspiration from his Turing solution, there's a clause in his contract. If Noble ever did fire David, he would have retained control over all of his patents afterwards.
Huh. Yeah, see, that sounds nice. Only they never did fire him, did they? He just happened to die.
An unforeseeable act of God. In contract law, they call that force majeure. Alright. So we're just gonna go into the trial. I am yawning. So I think it might be worth it to maybe bring this out to one more stream next week. Just because I'm tired. This trial's definitely going to be at least an hour with me talking. Maybe an hour and a half. And I think it's probably a good place to stop too. So then we can get into it. So let's save. Sorry, I was looking at the cat. Actually, let's check evidence first of all. Arbitration! Yes. Yes.
The gift that keeps on giving, truly. Truly, truly.
Alright, let me save. I will save right here, so it's easy. Perfect! And we'll go right on over to the stream ended. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Let's see who we could read. Let's see who live. Hey! If some flotsam? Oh, I haven't been able to read them in a long time. Let's do that. If Sam flotsam. There. They're probably doing some art, I think. Yeah, they are. And a wonderful stream. Till the next. Thank you so much, Artichoke. I appreciate you very much. And thank you, Corwin, as well. We're gonna go raid my friend Sam. They're doing some art. My next stream will be possibly tomorrow at about 5 p.m. EDT. I'll just say Eastern. I can't remember if it's EDT or EST. Anyway, 5 p.m. Eastern. Mochi and I might be playing some rap depending on how long her donathon is going. But I will also be doing book club at 7:30 with Benji. So I'll take a little break in between raft and stream just to have some dinner. And I'll do that. And then I'll be back with the more of Neo The World Ends With You on Saturday morning. So, looking forward to that. Thank you everyone for hanging out, and I wish you all a rad rest of your week ahead. Goodbye, friends! Let's go raid Sam. Also, here's a little raid message if you want to copy that. Goodbye!